All right, hi. Is this thing on? Working? All right, you look good. I look good. You look good. I look good. All right. Welcome to another tutorial. Today we're going to tackle the Phantom Gundam, but before we get into that, and probably the last thing I'll also do is ask you guys whether or not you want a more professional, rigid briefing format, or if you want a more casual conversation sort of thing. Let me know what you like, and let's just get right into it. So yeah, as I said, we're going to get into the Phantom Gundam. 2500 cost, 620 HP, it transforms, it has a form change, and it's called the 1000 Custom Prototype Unit that was designed to have the capability to go against 1000 enemies at once. And if I sound sarcastic because I say fucking yeah right, look, I'm not saying that it's bad, I'm saying I'm bad. Whatever I'm doing wrong is going to be very apparent in this video, and if any of you were one of the ones who had to suffer through me when I was online trying to get footage for this, I apologize. I deeply, profusely apologize. But let's actually get into the suit now. So your main weapon is the Butterfly Buster B, and it's a standard beam rifle that holds 7 ammo, and there's really nothing remarkable about this weapon. Just like its charge main, which is a flame sword throw, it has a stun on it, but the long startup and almost non-existent guidance make this kind of just a moot option for almost anything else in your kit. So sorry if I brushed through these two real quick. They're just not worth talking about any longer. The sub is where things start getting spicy. It's the Kujaku. It's a horizontal wide beam shot or spread shot. Each individual beam does its own damage, and 2 rounds or 4 rounds can knock people down. And you can shoot this weapon simultaneously, back to back, AB AB. And what's great about this move and what's not great about this move is that while it's really good for stuffing approaches, it's okay and a little rough at times at catching landings because this weapon has, again, no tracking on it. So it's a great self-defense tool, and I find myself using it as such more than an offense or chase down tool. So your special shooting is where things start getting a little interesting. Your special shooting quick transforms you into your MA mode. Your mobile armor mode has a lot of different tools, so we're just going to knock them out one by one real quick. Your main weapon is the Butterfly Buster B again. However, it has 1 ammo, does 100 damage, and stuns. Your sub transforms you back and lets you use the Peacock Smasher mode, which is just the same spread shot attack that you had before, but this nice quick snap out can catch a lot of people off guard. Hitting special shooting one more time gives you the vaulting shot. It shoots a beam rifle 3 times, almost guaranteeing a knockdown, and it's really good for helping cut tracking and getting just out of the way. It's another mobile option, and this is the weapon that I was using 9 times out of 10 when I was in mobile armor mode. This is the one that I feel like people were the most wary of and really looking out for. So even though I didn't land a lot myself, I will say that because people are looking out for it, this is probably the move to be using. And before we get into the really technical stuff, the last thing to note on this mode is the melee. The melee is a straight 120 damage tackle. It's a multi-hit. Unless the opponent is, I don't know, using a thrusting attack or has armor of their own, you're probably going to plow right through them for this quick, easy damage. Real quick, let's just talk about the melee. Almost all of your melees can be canceled into back melee, which gives you a slash through and a stun, which is probably the easiest way to set up for an ally assist, or just shoot them down and move on to your next target. This is the move I probably used the least, and looking back, I probably needed to use it way, way more. Other than that, your standard melees are some standard 3 hits, a forward stabbing grapple, some standard side hits, and a standard kind of slash through bounce move. Overall, you don't do any melee that does more than 200 damage, or really 180, unless you start doing some rainbow dashing into there. But once again, Phantom Gundam's kind of meh. So if you've been thinking up to this point that everything I've just said is kind of rushed and underwhelming, it's because that's exactly how I feel, and I should rush through it. The Phantom Light, however, is where things start to take a turn for the exciting. The special melee activates your Phantom Light. You get 200 duration of super armor from ranged attacks. While Phantom Light is active, now you have access to all sorts of other tools and gadgets, things that actually make the Phantom Gundam worthwhile. This is the reason to play the suit, and kind of the ability that got me in trouble the most, because, as soon as I had Phantom Light active, I could not help but just give a hype shout and charge straight forward towards someone just thinking I'd be good to go. Now, pressing special melee one more time will give you the Eye Field Storm full power. It blocks incoming range attacks with a powerful Eye Field, and you're thinking, well, Union, I already am immune to range attacks. Why would I need another range shield? Because this will not do anything except for take away from the timer duration for your Phantom Light. You won't actually be tanking any shots, you'll be nullifying them. During this move, however, you get access to 3 other moves. If you press your main weapon, you'll use their Butterfly Buster, which shares your ammo with your regular main, but you will jump and do a 130 damage instant knockdown shot. It's smooth, it's quick, and it's a real funny way to cut tracking out of melee targets. If you hit melee, you'll do the Phantom Grab, which you'll dash forward with the eye field, gives you a shooting barrier, of course, grabbing and headbutting the enemy. It's hilarious. It can combo into itself up to 3 times. I love this attack. This one is the one I want to do the most, even though it doesn't do as much damage as everything else. So if you were wondering where all of this was leading to, it's the melee attacks during Phantom Light. During Phantom Light, all of those standard, weak, pitiful melee attacks become these behemoth, these strong attacks that rival that of 3Ks and beyond. Your Flame Sword Slash, which is the BC derivative for all of your regular melee attacks, or most of them at least, is just clean 240 damage. Your Slash Through, that's your CC8B, gives you a multi-hit combo that does more when your ult's active, and we'll get into the burst attack here in a second. But otherwise, everything has been leading up to this point. You played your game, you bid your time, you did everything right to activate this mode, and now you have a shooting guard, a universal shooting guard, as you run through and start being this flame sword slashing maniac. It's glorious. Now, the burst attack. Got one more melee attack to talk about, but first, you gotta talk about the burst attack. Heat Radiation Face Open is the Phantom Gundam's burst attack. You enter a Phantom Light mode with a 300 timer instead of a 200. You last longer, and you have access to an additional charge through. That's CC8B, and then you mash through. More hits, more damage, nearly 300 damage with F-Burst. Having access to this slash through and this armor allows you to have, it's like having 3 burst attacks, maybe even 4 if you're using a full F-Burst. You'll be able to run through the entire opponent's defensive lines in just an instant with this speed from F-Burst, and just slash them to pieces. Move on to the next target, slash them to pieces. Move on to the next target, slash them to pieces. This is the part that I really enjoyed. Now there is a downside to the burst attack. After the radiation face is open, or rather after it closes, you have a 12-second cooldown before your Phantom Light will then be able to start activating, which gives you a, what's the ggez say, 37 seconds before you can use your next Phantom Light. When you're done with this mode, you're kind of done with this mode for a while. During your cooldown state, where the white smoke is coming out of your mobile suit, almost all of your general performances are nerfed slightly. A little bit less boost, a little bit less speed. So there is a downside to becoming this melee god for a few seconds. This to me makes the suit entirely worth playing and maining. The people I have been knocked around by were way better than all the other stuff than I was, but this is the part that I can do. So you probably already know which burst I'm going to pick, but just to walk through them all, we got ourselves S-Burst, which is meh. Your beam rifle is nothing to write home about. Your Peacock Smasher is not all that great. I don't think S-Burst is the way to go. Someone might prove me wrong, but it's not for me. And E-Burst, you get some more Phantom Light time for sure, but that's not what we're here for. I don't feel like anyone's really playing Phantom Gundam to be effective. I think people are playing Phantom Gundam because it's fun as hell when you have this final moment open, and so I recommend F-Burst. You get the 3x speed burst, you get to have your Phantom Light duration go up, all this melee damage just compiles in on itself, and it is just so much fun to move so fast. It's just full on, it's the Phantom Gundam's Trans Am. It's so much fun. Now, as for partner picks, you got kind of just a couple limited options. You should go for scores that are, rather cost ranges that are slightly lower or slightly higher than you, which is literally 2Ks and 3Ks. If you have a 3K, I would probably say go ahead and go E-Burst. You want to be able to stay alive for your 3K and allow them to be, hopefully the carry that they want to be while still retaining your dangerous abilities for Phantom Light. And then if you are the higher cost unit, go ahead and go for F-Burst. No harm in it. In Shuffle, I would go for F-Burst personally, but, I like playing that reckless. And as for partner picks yourself, anything, really, that can kind of share some of the burden of being the front. I noticed that a lot of times when I was playing, when I was up front, it was very easy for me to get double locked, but thankfully I got carried by this Excelia, who was able to really cover up that option, and then when I was getting double locked, pick off a target from the left or right. So All in all, if I had to learn that lesson again, I would definitely pick someone who can lay out some artillery or someone who could be up front with you to help separate the fight into two individual 1v1s. And that's the end of my guide slash take on the Phantom Gundam. I think the ggez is absolutely right. This is absolutely a do as I say and not as I do suit. In these replays, you're going to see me run into all sorts of stupid situations, and I get shot down and double locked and picked on, and it's very hard for me to pull my weight. Thankfully, one more time, I got carried by the people who were, originally stomping me. So definitely not the best footage to show off after this, but I had just a rough of it trying to get this stuff together. I'm rambling, but what I can really say is this suit should be played patient. You should take your time, get in slow. It's not like Death Scythe, who has a cloaking ability that can really get in, or, a great assist to help him charge in through the front line. The Phantom Gundam has to kind of just rely on the fundamentals without tracking. Yeah, that part. You have to rely on the fundamentals while you have very low tracking ability on most of your moves. And then, of course, you can burst through and try to find that spot. But there's a lot I could have been doing better that I just simply wasn't thinking about. I didn't use my mobile armor mode enough. I didn't use particular melee styles enough. I wasn't patient enough with my beam rifle and just decided, shoot it out with some guy. And what it taught me is that my fundamentals were not up to another suit's gimmicks. Not only were these other players better at fundamentals than me, putting them above me on the even playing field, but then their suits also had these great moves and gimmicks that allowed them to take advantage of those fundamentals, and I simply wasn't doing the same thing. So one more time, this is just a straight up apology to anyone in the ggez community, in the Maxi Boost On community, and those who were playing with me that night. That's all my bad. God, I need to really work on that. So is the Phantom Gundam good? In my opinion, it's kind of middle of the road for 2500s. It's not exactly the one I think I'm going to put on a list of mine anytime soon. Do I think Phantom Light is great? Oh yeah, this is like the whole Joker Arsene thing in Super Smash Bros. Is Joker a great character? Yeah, Joker's an alright character, but Arsene is the best character, and that's kind of where the Phantom Light mode comes in. Overall, I had fun. I did my very best to keep having fun and enjoy myself as I was struggle busting my way through this. And shout out to Hades V, who made the suggestion to try out Phantom Gundam. This was an eye-opening experience for myself as a player. Now, I know what the ggez says. It says, don't go full Dynasty Warrior. It says, don't go full Slash Happy when this thing is active. But I can't help myself sometimes. I see this mode and I want to use this mode. I'm having more fun than I'm trying to win, and that cost me some wins at the end of the day. But what it comes down to is how much fun you're having in games like this. And that should just about do it. Guys, let me know, please, what format you like better. If you like this one-on-one talking format, if you like the more rigid information building format. There's one mode where I write a script and I stick to it, and I'm very meticulous about what I have to say, and I get all the little details in. And then I have this mode, which allows me to be more off the cuff and be like, yeah, well, this is what the beam rifle does, but I think it sucks anyway. So you guys let me know. I appreciate you. I love all this support you guys have been giving me. It's been fun doing all this. I'm having a blast doing this. And shout out to the Maxi Boost On community for giving me some inspiration, videos, and tooltips, and just everyone in the Discord and everyone online. I appreciate y'all. So keep playing what you love and love what you play, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.